she's good with a knife, but she was born and raised a ranch kid. And when Pop said skin the cow, she skinned the cow, and she's good. She had a very good shot with a rifle. You guys want to come on in? Come on. She had a very good shot with a pistol, but with a rifle, you don't want to beat a rabbit within 150 yards of your head. This here, she is good. But anyway, so she has this ability, and that's enough knife for right around the place. But if I'm even just going to the south ground, I might put on a better knife before I get out there. If each of, how many knife makers do we have here? Okay. If each of us buys some of this new GPX 224Y and makes a blade, and we figure maybe the volume of our blade, and report how we hardened it, how we tempered it, what we found on edge flex, that we stuck it in a vise and flexed it, and it snapped at 2 degrees with 1 foot-pound of torque. Okay? We'll know. It doesn't mean the steel's bad, it doesn't mean it's good, but we'll know. And if we know, we can make those decisions. And all of us, one gentleman wrote a letter to the editor. He said, what we need to do is figure the volume of the steel for the length of the blade. Well, there's smarter people than I am in here, but what I figure we could do, just figure the steel volume. We got this one of the little graduated cylinders that we had in high school chemistry, and it's got your numbers on it. And we marked down the length of the blade from here to there, okay? And then we submerge it in this water. And here's our water level here. Put a little meniscus in there. That's a big word, meniscus. And we sink the blade, and it goes up to here. And we say our volume of this blade at 4.5 inches was so many centimeters of water displaced. I hardened it this way, I tempered it that way. I tried cutting with it. It made so many cuts on the hemp rope. I tried the edge flex, it didn't chip. Now we know. And I put it in a vise, flexed it, 40 foot-pounds of torque. That's pretty strong. It's strong enough for most folks. Myself, I like to see them up around 70 foot-pounds of torque. I can make them real easily go over 100 foot-pounds of torque. But nobody's going to put over 70 foot-pounds of torque on a knife with a 4-inch handle or a 5-inch handle. At least I can't. Maybe some of you can. But this is just another little piece of information we have. And so what I'm asking for is that we communicate. I right now have, thanks to Jeremy here, we have a web forum. And if any of you want to participate, it's real easy. You go to your, as long as you don't have to pick up a pencil. Knife Talk Online. Okay? All little letters, just type it in and you'll find us. And if you want to report, I tried this new steel. This is what I found. What do you think? And other guys will try it and they'll say, okay, this is what we found. And if 4 makers try it and find it cuts well, that it won't take any lateral stress, okay. Maybe we don't use it, maybe we do. When knife blades break, I don't believe that I've ever seen the knife blade break like this from pressure up here, okay? Always it's side pressure against the knife that breaks them someplace. And There's a book put out by the Battle Memorial Institute. This book was written in 1941 for the U.S. Naval Air Command. And they talk about prevention of fatigue, failure, and metals. What a wealth of information. If you check in Abe Books or Amazon, just tack in B-A-T-T-E-L-L-E, Memorial Institute. They'll come up with all kinds of thoughts for you. That are all kinds of books. You can buy them anywhere from, I bought 3 of them for under $5. I bought 5 of them for under 10. And I just ordered another one for, I think, 14. But wealth of information. What caused this? What caused that? A weld will break when? Yeah.
Do they update that particular book with the more modern steels, or they pretty much the 1941 stuff?
This is 1941. That's there's no more. Okay, but the beauty of it is they go through and they do a bunch of experiments. And one of them, come on in. One of them is very, very simple. They had a bar of steel, and they put it in this spinning deal with so much pressure. It would take, again, I don't remember his numbers real well, but the relative shots I do. They spun it with 50,000 psi pressure on it, and they spun it 500,000 times. That was below its maximum strength. Then they put the other half of this version bar in there and spun it at 80,000 pressure, and it broke, snapped. Then they took their first bar of steel, put it back in there, and spun it again with the maximum stress on it, and it went for 200,000 or 300,000 spins and never snapped. Pre-stressed steel, it changed. Wow. Well, okay, you follow me how significant this is? So you go back and there's a German manuscript. The experiment was done in Germany years and years ago, and even now it's longer. Back in the 20s or something, when the German steel industry is so far ahead of everything else in those days, it's pathetic. Krupp was a genius. But the manuscript exists to explore what they thought happened to that steel through that pre-stress. They didn't have the ability to analyze it, but they know what's happened. Now, I've seen that in knives that I fool with. Like in my new DVD, I made this Woots blade, 52-100 Woots. I preserved the Woots microstructure. I didn't take it above critical to harden it, but it's still hardened. But at first it wouldn't cut. 4 months later, Rick's got there, it did 200 cuts. Am I crazy? No, I got this old manuscript here says, yeah, that stuff happens. In other words, steel, a stress condition, it changes over time, it changes over use. A piece of steel is never the same. This isn't the same it was yesterday. Can we measure the difference? No. But if all of us get together and do our own little tests, you can send them to Blade Magazine, you can send them to me, or you can post them up on our forum, and we'll say, this is what I found, and you'll be sharing that information with as many want to read it. No liability or anything else. You just say, this is what I found with my experiment, and we'll share that information. And then when we want to sell a knife to somebody that's going to Alaska and going to live in the wilds for a year, we will know how to make a knife for him. We'll know what kind of knife he needs. We can communicate and help each other build that knife for him. I don't want to make the knives for him all. No man here can make enough knives for that. But if we communicate and share information with some sort of empirical basis to it, we'll be on top.